We were talking about adjusting to life on the outside. You were both told that the leader of your church or group would pick your wife for you. You would have no say in that.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you're out in the real world.
Yeah. So I went to college in New York City, and that's where I started dating. I just had no sense of who liked me or not, so.
I mean, this is something you've never even thought you would do, was date, because.
Right? Yeah. And that's the hard part is like, you build up this expectation your whole life psychologically to what was called the blessing, which was the arranged marriage.
One of the hardest things for me is just, and I think for anyone who grew up in the Unification Church is, you know, you're taught that the outside world is the outside world, and your sense of trust and intimacy and sensitivity, humanness, it's all in this bubble of the Unification Church, right? It's just like your tribe, and it propels itself away from the outside world. So I think things like intimacy are like difficult. My whole childhood, I thought that I was gonna have an arranged marriage, so I didn't date anyone. It was hard for me to kind of break out of that because we were taught that we had the pure blood, and if we were to have, you know, sex with anyone outside of the church, then that's ruined forever. And 2,000 years of trying to bring the world back to God with our blood is ruined because we have sex. You try to tell me that's not a cult.
Still in my head, I'm like, well, I never made it to that finish line we've been preparing for our whole lives, and could say that I saw the other side and I'm ready to move on to other stuff. So,
Wait, so what are you saying? That because you were never married in one of those mass ceremonies where you met your wife sometimes that day as you're standing in the stadium, because you never made it to that point,
right?
Maybe you would have been happy if you'd gotten to that point and met?
I think I would have. There might be still some part of me that's holding on to that because that's what I was conditioned for. Yeah, my whole life, like just that's the gate you passed where sex and everything is okay, and then from there you can do whatever you want, you know. But so I just had to, you know, it's like you build up this expectation your whole life psychologically, and then suddenly you're just dating people in the city who are just like, it's, you know, they're not taking it as seriously because they don't know you that much yet.
Yeah, that's crazy because from my experience, you know, dealing with that same issue, right? I totally see where you're coming from on that. But I look now with the hindsight of 2020, looking back at what had happened to people who achieved that, their families being destroyed and the control it gave Warren over them. I'm very grateful that never happened for me.
Turned out to be a blessing.
You know, very grateful that never happened.